with Arizona and Arizona State coming in, Utah wouldn't be bad either.
No.
Yeah.
It's going to be. I think it's going to be great for all the major sports, particularly football and basketball. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just going to be harder for ones like baseball, where you do have a bunch of games lined up.
Even basketball, any day-to-day sport is going to be harder.
Yeah.
But
It's very difficult on the student athletes.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, it's one thing when you're playing one game a week and it's closer to the weekend between a Thursday and a Saturday. But
Right.
Yeah.
when you start getting Monday and Tuesdays involved with Thursdays and Fridays,
Yeah.
it can be very, very strenuous.
Agreed.
Because you got to remember the first part of that word, student. They are still students.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people forget that, right?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of athletes forget that they are students first and they are there to learn.
Yeah.
I mean, I respect a lot of like athletes that do go back and, you know, keep going on their education. I mean, as much as I don't like the Eagles, Jalen Hurts went and got his master's at Oklahoma. Major respect to him.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cam Newton did it when he was playing.
Right.
He went back at Auburn and he graduated.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and there's countless UNT guys that have graduated as well. And I mean, honestly, major respect to them. And I understand, right, that at least for football, you go through your 3 years, right? And then you go to the NFL if you feel like you're good enough. And that is a pipeline that has been that way. And I understand it. And I understand what it does for your draft stock. You know, you get there earlier, you're younger, you're faster, all the, you know, measurables, right? And I understand it. But at the same time, you got to remember you're a student. And what if, I mean, you know, there's no guarantees in the NFL.
No,
Right.
sir.
No. So what happens if, you know, the team that you got drafted by cuts you, right? Obviously now there's stuff like the, you know, the newly merged XFL, USFL, UFL, right? Which that's an opportunity, but you're not getting paid as much. You're still probably going to have to look for a job outside the season. I mean, you need to be ready as an athlete to not be an athlete. And that's where the student part comes in, you know? I mean, it's just, I feel like, you know, at least from what the media shows, right? Because there could be a lot of these athletes that are going back and, you know, graduating, and we just don't see it, right?
right.
They don't, I feel like at least the media shows us who the athletes are, not the students are,
Yeah.
Right.
you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Vince Carter did it. And I can't remember how much longer it was after he left North Carolina. But yeah, he went back to UNC and he finished. He got his degree. Quite, like you said, quite a few have. And there may be even more.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, you gotta have it in your mind at the same time that something, not wishing that something would go wrong,
Yeah.
but something can go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And assume that something will go wrong. I mean, you could get injured tomorrow and never be able to play another snap, you know?
It's true.
You know, never be able to play another minute, whatever, you know?
And I say this too, and I know it does not apply to all parents, but we have to let our babies do what they want to do.
Right.
If they want to play the sport, then okay, cool. We make sure we push them to be the best if that's what they want. But if they do not want to play football, if they don't want to play basketball, do not force them to do it.
Right.
Right.
Because there comes rebellion. They start to rebel. They start to resent you later on in life.
Right.
Have y'all seen the Ricky Williams 30 for 30?
No.
No.
Watch it. Watch it.
Okay.
It puts a lot into perspective, and it makes you wonder, what did he go through that we don't know about? And Ricky was very, very talented. In my honest opinion, one of the greatest running backs to ever play the game, and could have potentially been a top 5 running back all time.
Right.
If he did not retire and take that break off. But Ricky went through some stuff, and it's one of those stories where let your kid, within reason and respect, do what he wants to do. Don't force him to do anything.
Right. And you wonder how many countless stories are like that, but nobody talks about it. Right. I mean, how many kids are, you know, how many kids are just bred to be these, you know, freak athletes, right? Like,
Right.
I mean, everybody wants their kid to be the, you know, super speedy, fast, elusive Tyreek Hills of the world, right? I mean, everybody wants their kids to be the, super lanky and, versatile Wembanyama's of the world, right? I mean, then they're just consistently pushing them towards that. How many of those kids didn't want to do that,
Right. Let it be their choice.
Right.
Again, if they don't want to play, don't force them to play. Because there are other things they can do. They can go to school and do something else. They can become a doctor. They can become a lawyer if they want.
Right.
If they don't want to do that, it's completely okay to go get a CDL and become a truck driver.
Right.
They are needed. So yeah, let your child do what he or she wants to do, and do not force them to do anything they don't want to do.
Right. And also at the same time, as a parent, you do have to, when you see, maybe something that's not going to be maybe beneficial in the long run, maybe just mention it, like if you're a basket weaving major or something out there, shout out to all my basket weaving majors. If you're like a basket weaving major, maybe just say, hey, we're not going to pay for you to be a basket weaving major,
Right.
Like there's not a huge, need for that kind of thing. Point being, and I guess you could probably speak to this more as a parent, but, just pushing your kid in the right direction without forcing them.
Right. And I made it a point. I told myself, because seeing others, I have seen it up close with some friends of mine who they were very, very talented, but that's not what they wanted to do.
Right.
And they had a lot of resentment towards their parents later on. So I tell people all the time, make sure it's something that your child really wants to do. Otherwise, do not force them. Because even if they are successful, again, you got the resentment, but you also have times where they don't even get that far because they get so burned out, they give up.
Right.
And even worse, there's more resentment with that and other things that can come with that resentment.